One of my favorite TV shows of all time is Star Wars: The Clone Wars. I absolutely love the depth that it adds to all the characters of the prequel era. I particularly love the characterization that they give to the clones themselves. And it got me thinking, what if there was a story like that, but about the droids? What if there was a story that gave that same characterization to the droids? What if there was a battle droid commander who was a match for the Jedi in cunning and stratagem? And that's pretty much what gave birth to my Commander idea. One of the most fascinating things that I love about the Commander series is that it overlaps Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. During Revenge of the Sith, lots of huge galaxy-changing events occur, and we don't really get to see how that affects the rest of the galaxy. And I thought that that would be an excellent thing to show in part of my series. Creating anthology stories in Star Wars isn't necessarily hard, but it can be quite a challenge if you're fitting it into the timeline of a movie like Episode 3. I really like doing that. Now, of course, you can't have a story without characters. Now, our main character, though it isn't obvious at first, is Commander Joint of the Separatist Alliance. He is a veteran battle droid commander. He has also had several enhancements that make him different than other battle droids like him. He is significantly smarter, and his armor is stronger. He has been operational for the majority of the Clone War. Commander Joint is cunning, clever, but he also possesses a bit of honor. He doesn't like to kill when he doesn't have to, but should he see a need to kill, he will not hesitate. His whole driving force in his character through the latter half of the series is that he wants revenge on Lord Sidious for betraying him and the rest of the army. His droid officers under his command are similar to him. They're smarter than other droids, and they have improved armor. Lieutenant Gear is a pilot battle droid, but he also specializes in communications. He tends to act as Joint's closest friend and voice of caution. Captain Spark is a commando droid. We never learn too terribly much about him, only that he is very skilled in combat, and that he is extremely loyal to Joint. Mahog is a security battle droid. He speaks with a monotone voice, and he takes everything seriously. Tech Sergeant is, of course, the odd one of the bunch. Tech Sergeant is Commander Joint's mechanic. He keeps all the droids and ships in prime condition. Tech Sergeant is the weird one of the bunch. He generally doesn't take things as seriously as the others, and often enough he acts as the comic relief. However, when it comes to technical things, he is the best. Sergeant Barker of the Grand Army of the Republic. Barker is an ARF trooper with a trigger finger, serving under Jedi Master Plo Koon, and under his best friend, Clone Commander Redburn. Now, something very interesting happens to Barker. In the first episode, he's critically injured, and he's later recovered by the droids. The droids discover his inhibitor chip, a chip that is in the brain of every clone trooper, that causes them to obey Order 66. Due to his injury, Barker's inhibitor chip malfunctions, and the droids remove it to save his life. When Barker later learns of the death of the Jedi, he's heartbroken by the betrayal of his fellow clones, and he is forced to join forces with Commander Joint. The idea of droids and clones working together is something that I really thought was interesting, and I wanted to play with that in this series. Clone Commander Redburn is a very strict, by-the-books commander. When he receives the order to execute Jedi Master Sam Gramus, he doesn't hesitate, and he is, of course, loyal to the Empire. However, this brings a large conflict up between him and his best friend Barker.
Barker? No!
This is seen throughout the series as Redburn struggles between his loyalty to his friend and his loyalty to his programming. And then there's Adom Slew. Adom Slew was a former Jedi Knight. When the Empire rose to power, he volunteered his services as an Inquisitor in order to be spared. Slew is a very temperamental character. He does not like waiting, and he is reckless. He is, however, a great threat to Commander Joint and his squad. Something that I had a lot of fun with in this miniseries was the set design. The first major set that I built for this project was the Geonosian factory. It's not a large factory like the ones seen in Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, or in the Clone Wars. It's a much smaller factory, capable of producing only around 20 droids. For Episode 4, the Commander returns. I had built 2 rooms, the primary command center room and the hallway behind it. When I got to Episode 5, I then added the droid storage room. In Episode 6, the Commander's Foe, I created the most detailed set pieces. At the beginning of the episode, there's a scene where Darth Vader reports to Emperor Palpatine. I based this set piece off of 2 things. The room in the Superstar Destroyer, in which Vader contacted Palpatine in The Empire Strikes Back, and also on typical Imperial architecture. Mustafar was by far my most ambitious set piece. I looked over the footage from Revenge of the Sith several times to make sure that I could get things as close as possible with the pieces I had and the time that I had. When it came time to shoot, I didn't end up even using all the rooms that I built, which was a little bit of a shame. Now, what's left of the Mustafar base is a lot less than what was seen in Revenge of the Sith. During the battle between Obi-Wan and Anakin, they shut down the shields, protecting the base from the lava, and portions of the station are destroyed. Now, in the episode The Commander's Foe, we get to see what's left of the base. I was able to take advantage of this and make a much smaller set piece than I otherwise should have. Now, also, I never really focus on it, but if you look at the Mustafar base, you can see Anakin's Jedi Starfighter is still there. Typically for the episodes, I went for either a very forest or a desert sort of landscape, but for the Commander's Foe, I went for the volcanic environment of Mustafar, and so I had to do something very different. I laid out green screen and used that to create my lava. In the final episode, The Commander's Destiny, Joint and his squad visit a planet called Absans. This is an actual Star Wars planet, only seen in a Star Wars Rebels comic. It's one of the bases of Sinar Systems, which is the company that produces a lot of the Imperial vehicles, most notably the TIE series ships. I took a much simpler approach to the base this time. I simply took a build that I already had and just modified it and added an extra building onto it to make a dynamic enough setting for the final episode. You may recognize that the main portion of the Absans base is the same base that was used on planet Fanbar in my stop-motion POW's mission. I was debating quite a bit what I wanted to have happen to Commander Joint. I really like the idea of introducing Bail Organa and the Rebels. I think it serves very solidly as a transition from the end of the Clone War to the beginning of the Galactic Civil War. So what happened to Commander Joint after that? Who knows? I'm inclined to think that he was there in Rise of Skywalker. At the end of the movie on Exegol, when all those ships drop out of hyperspace, if you look carefully, you can see some of those are separatist cruisers. I'm inclined to think that Commander Joint is on board one of them. That's what I think. Well, thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all next time. Nuclear Films,